everyone, and welcome to the Live Your Best Marriage podcast. I'm your host, Whitney Shayo.
And I'm your host, Pesa Shayo.
And this is the place where we believe that every single marriage out there has a chance to be awesome, fulfilling, and of course, long-lasting. And you guys can always reach out to us on social media. I'm at Whitney Shayo on Twitter.
And I'm at Pesa Shayo on Twitter.
And of course, you can like us on Facebook,
which is Facebook.com/Live Your Best Marriage.
And as always, you can go back to that place where it all began, which is liveyourbestmarriage.com/blog.
Oh, yeah.
And we love having you guys listening. We love when our subscribers reach out to us, ask questions, and comment. So feel free to do that.
And we believe that every marriage has a chance to be awesome and fulfilling. And today, Whitney has been really happy. What are you happy about today, Whitney?
No, he always makes me giggle. He's just such a funny guy. I'm blessed. I have a really sweet hubby. What can I say?
Me too. I have a sweet wife.
I can't complain.
Me too.
Today, what I actually wanted to talk about is when marriage is not what we imagined it to be. So when our expectations are completely different from what we thought, or actually what it turns out to be, sorry.
So most of the time we expect a marriage to be like a bed of roses?
Yes. So we have these really fabulous expectations, but then there's this little thing called reality. And that shows up at some point, usually early on.
And you find that it's actually better than a bed of roses.
It can be. It totally can be way better than what you expected. But what I want to talk about is the fact that we don't anticipate frustration.
Yes.
And we don't really think that anyone will get tired or get angry, or that no one will misunderstand what the other said. So the idea that I want to bring today is, what do I do when those things happen? When these surprises come up, and how do we react? What do we say? So today, actually, we do have 3 tips for this, by the way. But as much as we need to have a positive outlook and keep a great attitude and just expect that when we get married, our relationship will be totally awesome.
Yes.
I also feel it's necessary to be aware of reality. I think that's helpful.
So, yes, like reality versus expectations.
Right. And reality is we're all human. We all have feelings, and our feelings change. And situations come up. Sometimes we say things that can be offensive, and obviously it's not always meant. It's not always our intention to upset our spouse.
Yes.
But it does happen though. So that's the big question. When these things come up, what do I do? And my hubby here, who is obviously a lot smarter than me, always has this really great idea that you need to use your creativity to solve the problem.
Oh, yes.
Rather than waste your energy just stating the problem over and over again.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's actually a huge tendency that I have. It's a really terrible habit that I've developed recently. when I'm like when I'm mad about something, I just say it over and over again. Pesa's trying to make a suggestion or come up with a solution, and I'm just like, no, this blah 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 happened, and I don't like that. So, which is really childish. So I need to quit that and learn how to use my creativity and my energy on solving the issue and just trying to think of a solution.
Oh yeah. And just to go back, and you had talked about when a couple is getting married and they have these expectations that everything will be great. Mm-hmm. So if you were to give them some advice, you would say, hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Everything won't be great, and it's not gonna be perfect. So just know that the next 20 years or 40 years or 50 years of your life will be miserable. What do you say? Or you say like, you know what? It's there will be some ups and downs, and then.
I want to start by saying that it's awesome to have a great attitude about it. I mean, just you hit the ground running thinking that it's going to be really great.
Yeah.
And the better your attitude is and the more positive your outlook is, of course, it will be great.
Yeah.
But again, I don't want it to get to the point where we don't anticipate any frustrations at all.
Yeah.
Because, again, I have to go back to the fact that we have feelings, and our feelings change, our moods change. And the first tip that I want to give is just don't expect perfection.
Yeah.
That's basically what I'm getting at here is when we have that happy honeymoon phase.
Oh, that one.
It's and the person we married can do no wrong, which is just so sweet. I love it. Actually, we need to continue having that attitude of they can do no wrong. We need to. We need
That's
to
what
keep
I have
that up.
with you.
Yeah, it's like you know how like a grandparent treats their grandchild?
Oh, yeah.
They indulge to the point where they just have this attitude about them that they can do no wrong. Even when the child does misbehave, they would never talk about it. They would never admit it.
But you see, sometimes the child misbehaves in the eyes of the parent. But if you ask the grandparent, the child is that was not an issue.
So that's what I mean. I'm not saying treat your spouse like a child, but have that attitude that they can do no wrong. So maybe they're screwing up, but in your eyes, you're like, oh, they're just so cute. I'm not going to get mad.
So does that mean like you're not living in the real world? Like it's like a fantasy world?
You're living in the real world, but you're being lenient.
Okay.
That's pretty much the point I'm trying to make is when a friend or a colleague says something that you don't think is appropriate, or they do something that sort of offends you, you get over it quickly, right?
Yeah.
Because it's your friend. Or if it's a colleague, it doesn't really matter that much. You're like, you just brush it off. You're like, whatever.
Yes.
So why can't we do that with the person we married? If they say something, if they make a comment.
I don't know, for some reason, the person you married, their opinion matters a lot.
Their opinion matters a lot.
And it feels like you just have to correct them and get everything right or something.
Well, I think it has more of a sting though too.
Okay.
Definitely. But I just, if we can kind of twist it a little bit and view it as, okay, well, if I can be that lenient with my friend, why wouldn't I offer that kind of grace to the person I married? I don't know. That's just kind of...
Yeah, which makes way more sense. And friends come and go, but your spouse, you are in this for till death do us apart.
Exactly.
So, you think that person who you married should come first?
Yes. So tip number 1 was don't expect perfection, and you need to be more lenient.
Okay.
So tip number 2 is just be as laid back and easygoing as you can.
That is so easy for me. I mean, that just comes like, yeah.
No, it doesn't. So, which can also mean try as much as possible not to make a big deal out of every little thing.
Yes.
And when you're married, that's easier said than done, because if you have a pet peeve of someone not taking out the trash at a certain
By the way, for the record,
time.
I take the trash. Yes, for the record.
Yes,
I just want to make it
trash.
clear that I'm not the guy who forgets the trash.
Or, you know what? I've heard other couples say that one spouse likes to sleep with the ceiling fan on full blast, and the other one doesn't want a ceiling fan on at all.
Yes.
So, what about that?
And I have a friend who. Hey guys, I have a friend, not me. So I have a friend, and he likes to sleep with the window open, even during the winter. And guess what?
Yikes.
His wife doesn't like that. So that's a huge fight right there. Yes.
So if both of them are working together, trying to be as laid back and easygoing as they can, most likely they'll find a compromise.
Like have the window closed?
I don't know. Whatever. Meet in the middle somehow.
Like they have the window half open?
I'm sure they'll be able to find a solution.
Buy a bigger blanket?
Whatever they have to do. But not for them to not make a big deal out of that.
Because it's a big deal.
It's not easy.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, somebody has to adapt. Either he has to adapt to her, which that's pretty much what happened. He ended up adopting to her style.
And being laid back doesn't mean become a doormat.
It doesn't?
It doesn't mean just let them give them everything they want and then you get nothing. That's not what I'm trying to say.
It's just finding like some sort of a compromise.
I mean, either find a middle ground or just don't let the little things bug you.
Yeah.
Just try as much as possible not to let those things get to you.
Yeah.
Because they will, trust me.
Yeah.
We know. So.
Can you give us an example of something that bugs you?
No, I don't want to right now.
Why is that? You're going to get upset?
We don't have time. Okay.
Yes, we have time.
No. Tip number 3 is move forward. That's a huge one.
Yes.
That's really, really, really important. That's probably one of the most important.
I think that's the biggest thing ever.
Yeah.
Like, to me, that's the most important thing.
Yep.
Which is, don't sit there figuring about, like, oh, we went this, we did this, like, trying to go through all the problems, trying to find who's responsible for what and who did what. And as psychologists say, trying to resolve the issue. I think you'll never find any solution in that issue. I think the best thing is to move forward. Remember that you are in the same team.
Yes.
Work together. Say, you know what? I'm sorry. A mistake was made.
Yes.
I own up my part of the situation, and the other person owns up their part. And then we move forward, because at the end of the day, we are still a team and we have other issues to deal with. And it seems the more we are running a business, the more we are running a business together, the less time it takes to move forward from a disagreement, because there's a lot of people who are depending on us.
Yes.
So it's like we just have to realize a problem happened, stop dwelling on it, trying to figure out, all the little things, because at the end of the day, there was just a mistake that happened. Nobody meant it. Nobody's mean, you're a good person, I'm a good person. Let's move on. Instead of doing what the gurus say, try to dig in, figure out whose parent, what childhood issue brought that thing, and I think at the end we still have to move on. Yes.
So actually, before we started recording, Pesa gave me an analogy that really made a lot of sense. He said that when you are just constantly hashing out the problem or rehashing, whatever you want to call it, and instead of trying to find a solution, it's like digging through the trash.
Yeah.
That's really, like, if you're going over the hurtful things that were said,
Yeah.
or the painful situation and you're just putting yourself through that. You're reliving it and you're ruminating, but you're not solving it.
Nope.
So I really do like that example of it's more like going through the trash, because you're definitely not moving forward.
No, and after you figure out everything out in the trash bin, you are still there. You are still in the trash. Fine, you found what was wrong, what happened. You are still there.
Yeah, you stay stuck.
You're still stuck.
Yeah.
Instead of moving forward.
So the importance of moving forward, that is so huge that it can determine the trajectory that your marriage is on.
Oh, yeah.
Because if a couple is not able to do that, they're just, really, they are stuck.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's one of the causes of all the divorces that we're seeing, or if that is a cause. I don't know if that's part of it. But having the kind of attitude that can help you just be progressive. And you know that this whole marriage thing is ongoing.
Yes.
It's continuous. And so when you stop to, quote unquote, dig through the trash and you're rehashing all of the problems, you're getting off course.
Yes.
Or you're just taking it to a different trajectory, and it's not a pretty one.
No.
It's not a nice one.
No.
So
it's just, and it's so, as you're saying, no nice one, it's pretty much very painful.
Yeah. It's not constructive. It's not something that is helpful to anybody.
And it doesn't get you to a place where you want to be as a couple, which is happy and just excited about each other. It doesn't. It's just you are relieving the negativity. It's not getting you, pretty much after you are done with all that, you are still mad, upset, and you just don't feel right. No.
And then the longer we stay stuck in the problem phase, instead of trying to move over into the solution stage, that's where bitterness and resentment really starts to grow.
Yeah.
It becomes really, really hard to move past some of the hurtful things, and just and a lot of these issues that couples have, it's not even like you're trying to hurt one another.
No.
It's mistakes are made, and it's not intentional.
No.
You're not purposely out to get the person you married.
No.
So
yeah, you are not out to get, mistakes were made, and you are not out to get them. And another thing that I always have to remind myself is, when you are dealing with trying to find the reasons and just digging through all the issues that you went through, it's pretty much you are looking at the past. Yes. Your whole focus is not in the present and is not in the future. It's you are saying, okay, I will have to resolve what happened in the past so that I can have a great day today. How about just saying, you know what? Let's have a great day today.
Let's start fresh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Start over each day.
And I know this, a lot of folks there will be like, hey, you know what, Pesa, you don't really know what happened to me. If you really knew what happened to me.
Oh, you don't know who I have to live with.
If you just know what I have to live with. My situation is different because you are just there having a great time. But my situation, if you knew what my husband does to me, or what my husband, how he talks to me, there's no way we can just forget about it, ignore it. We have to go back there and find, quote unquote, resolve it, relive that whole thing, resolve it, and then move.
Closure.
Have quote unquote closure. But unfortunately, you can choose to do that. But even after you are done with that, and you can even see a counselor and everything, but after you're done, you're still not happy.
There will still come a time when you do need to go ahead and move forward.
You have to. You have to move forward to to start experiencing that new life, or you'll be stuck back there in that issue that you had.
The couples who amaze me are the ones who have gone through affairs and then they still stay together. Those, I mean, imagine having to start fresh after something like that.
Yeah. And to me, just like they had this crazy situation that went in, like this crazy thing that happened in their marriage, but for them to amaze you today, that couple had to make a decision that, you know what, we are moving on.
Yeah.
There's
Exactly.
a day they have to say, you know what, we are moving on.
Exactly.
And you are like, whoa, yes, they did. Because there's some, I don't know who this person is, but I was reading online that this guy had like, I don't know his name, but he's like a marriage counselor. And he had like 17 years of porn addiction.
Oh, really?
That part of his bio. And now he's happily married to this wife who I guess has forgiven him. And put yourself in his shoes or her shoes, and there was a lot of back and forth and a lot of like trying to resolve the issues, but there was a day or over a period of time they had to realize that the more we stay here, we'll be stuck. For this relationship to get to where we want it to get, we have to say we are moving on.
You have to say we're done with that issue.
We are done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not we're done. We're done with that problem.
Yes, we're done with that problem, and now we are continuing with us.
Yes.
Yes.
So, okay. So just to go over the tips again. We have certain expectations when we first get married, and also just throughout the marriage. Also, even if you've been married for 10 years or 13 years, like we have, there are certain things that you expect your spouse to do or not to do. And when it turns out to be something that we didn't imagine it to be, the first thing we can do is just don't expect perfection.
Nope.
Be more lenient.
Yes.
And the second tip we gave was just be as laid back and easygoing as you can. Just don't try as much as possible to not make a big deal out of every little thing. That does not mean become a doormat.
No.
It just means there are a lot of things that can be let go. Like, you just don't have to make it an issue.
And also you can voice your opinion.
Yeah.
Just because you are out there to find a solution or try to work through issues does not mean you are not voicing your concerns. It's all in the spirit of working together to find a solution. And sometimes actually you might find a solution which is not what I expected, not what you expected, but actually a hybrid or something else totally different which is better. But you cannot get to that better if you're not willing to drop yours, but at the same time if you're not willing to use creativity to find the better one.
Absolutely.
Together.
Absolutely.
Now it might be crazy. There might be a lot of emotions as you're going back and forth trying to figure it out.
When you start using words like hybrid, that's when I start getting confused. But I just know, okay, I need to listen to. It sounds like he knows what he's talking about, so no. I'm gonna listen. No, it's okay. We don't need a definition.
For those who have listened to this podcast before, I love to check for definition. And a hybrid is a thing made by combining two different elements or a mixture. Basically, you're putting two different ideas together, And most of the time, it's actually the outcome is better than the individual parts.
Wow. Okay. I'm still confused, but it sounds really helpful.
Yeah. So.
Or at least I hope it is.
Yeah.
That sounds like the right thing. So I'm just going to move on to tip number 3 because I told you he's smarter than me. So tip number 3 is just move forward. Just
move forward.
Be able to avoid getting stuck.
Just look in the future, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Keep moving.
Although at that time,
when it gets heated, I know.
At that time, nobody's looking. Everybody wants justice.
I like to let him know what happened. I like to let Pesa know what he did. No, but honestly, if we use up all of our creativity rehashing what happened, it's not helpful.
No, it's not going to be helpful.
So,
no.
So just try to use your energy for finding the solution.
Because most of the time, that's all you have, really, your creativity and prayer. So which comes first, prayer or creativity?
I love prayer.
Okay, prayer. So don't forget to pray. Is that one of your tips? Prayer?
No, I didn't even have pray.
Okay, so we'll add that one. We will actually make it the first one.
Okay, yeah.
Pray.
So we'll switch all of them around. And then,
so we'll start with pray.
Yeah, so it'll be pray, don't expect perfection, be laid back, and move forward.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes.
So 4 tips.
4 tips.
To
have a great marriage or to deal with the being let down. So that's the 4 tips to dealing with that let down.
That you can actually use. They not only help you adjust
to the reality.
When a little bit of reality.
When Mr. Charming becomes.
When Prince Charming.
Okay, no,
is not
charming.
Is not at his most charming.
Princess Charming.
Princess Charming is not as not as charming as she appeared to be.
Yeah.
In the beginning.
Stop praying.
So these are actual things that you can do. These are steps you can take. Yes. Just to help you adjust with that so that the ride isn't so bumpy.
And sometimes the ride is bumpy and it's just your perception.
That's true. Yes. That's true. And also other problems come up too. Like sometimes the marriage can be under attack from other issues.
Yeah.
Like in-laws can start being weird or just, problems. Life has so many problems. Yeah. And so the road can be bumpy whether you guys are having trouble between one another or not. But
and in another podcast we had talked about us against them, like using the concept of it's us against them. And in a situation like that, when the expectations are being let down and you feel like Prince Charming or Princess Charming, Mr. Charming, or Mr. Clean.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, Prince Charming is not living up to the expectations. You can remember that we as a team are still doing well compared to other couples.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
So you can always pick a couple, like the idea, like, half of the marriages are getting divorced in the first. Is it the first year or the first what?
I think within 2 years or something.
Okay, so within 2 years, and if you've been around the block.
Or within 7 years, I don't know.
So if you've been together for a while, you're like, we are doing well. We as a couple, things might be crazy, but at least we are still together, something like that.
Yeah.
So you're using that to bring yourself closer. That is, we're going to do it together.
Right.
So.
Absolutely.
Just saying. Remember, you're a hybrid, right?
I already forgot what that means. So just to encourage you guys. Of course, it might not always turn out to be what you imagined, but it can still be really, really enjoyable, and you can still be happy.
Yes.
So we just love to provide that encouragement.
Oh, yeah.
And hopefully be somewhat of an inspiration.
Oh, yes.
Because we are also real people with real problems, but we stay together.
Yes.
So.
Oh, yes. Okay, folks. It was a great podcast. We enjoyed talking about this topic. So, folks, you can always subscribe on iTunes. And also, you can also subscribe at SoundCloud or Stitcher. So, until next time, bye and God bless.
Are you tired of being upset, lonely, feeling empty, or just plain frustrated with your marriage? And no matter how hard you try, you're not getting anywhere, just going in circles? No matter how much you try to make time for one another in your schedule, or how many times you say, "I'm sorry," Pesa and I have put together 99 ideas to help you connect with that one special person so that things can start to be more like the way they were before everyday life got in the way and caused the two of you to drift apart. We want you to have 99 ways to show love to your spouse absolutely free. You can find it at 99waystoshowlovetoyourspouse.com. Because here at Live Your Best Marriage, we truly hope that the two of you can move closer together and enjoy the connection that comes from achieving a stronger bond. Again, that's 99waystoshowlovetoyourspouse.com. That's the number 99waystoshowlovetoyourspouse.com.